Greetings, and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. Today on Becoming Weird and Sorcery Self-Defense, we are going to talk about using the concept of Wanga to keep one's head in an emergency situation. Okay, so what do I mean by this? I'm talking about using the concept of Wanga to enter the form of Gnosis that is often referred to as the zone in sports, or like some people talk about how when they come into an emergency situation, there's that sense of almost slow motion, that moment of extreme clarity. And that's what we are seeking with this Wanga concept of using it for the emergency situation, because anytime we're in an emergency situation, obviously that's a moment where the UFO has broken or ground against itself, and we are in a moment of conflict, which is producing lots and lots of Wanga, that unexpected, unpredictable energy. Well, fortunately for us, our body actually has this in place. That moment that I mentioned, our body already wants to do that. Our minds have this set up in them. But a lot of us that don't already naturally do that have fallen away from this concept. It's one of the unfortunate things about becoming overly domesticated, yeah? If you were to go into the woods and find a bunch of people that were still living in the old ways, all of them would already have this moment. It is only from this lack of experience with conflict that we have not developed this moment, and we have a tendency to panic, like the modern civilized human will do, or a domesticated animal, other domesticated animal besides the modern civilized human. Anyways, so what is needed is simply that, Wanga, and we need to think on that sound, not just that word, but that sound. And then with that, there is an image, yeah? You will come up with a sigil, and this is a sigil that you will never write down, yeah? You should never see this sigil anywhere but in your mind. But this is a Wanga sigil, and your mind allow it to make that sound and associate it with entering into the emergency state. And then over time you will meditate on this. You can do open eye meditation, whatever you need that helps you hear that sound, not from your mouth like I just did, but in your mind with that sigil. And imagine that sigil is for emergency situations. This is the sigil that you will reach to that pops forward and then releases back. Yeah? When in no emergency situation, you will hear the sound, you will see the sigil, that will create the trigger, and then you go into the state, and that sigil becomes background. And I know this sounds strange, but your mind already has this. Your brain is prepared to do this. Your body wants to do this. It is part of being the human animal. Yeah? It's simply a layer of domestication, of civilization, that causes us to lose that ability. And over time, with practice, you can get to where you can do this in sports as well, or other athletic type things where you want to enter that zone. But the important part is to remember that this is already there. Yeah? The Wanga moment exists. It is part of survival. And our body and brain already has these things in place if we simply learn to engage them. Anyways, that will be it for this episode. Thank you once again for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. Until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.